Can you spare some cutter, me brothers? We don't want to live in a stinking world like this.
Oh? And what's so stinking about it?
It's a stinking world because there's no law and order anymore.
Hey everybody, I'm Tatsudoshi.
And I'm Corin Burley.
And this is our second of 4 Stanley Kubrick films as requested by Doc Sigma. This one is A Clockwork Orange, and once again, I am familiar with this.
It's the first time you watch it.
And again, my dad was a big fan of Stanley Kubrick, so I've seen a lot of his films before. Not all of them, but a bunch of them. This one in particular was one of the first that I had seen of Kubrick stuff, and I know a lot of people know him more for his 2001 Space Odyssey, or, you know, the Shinin and stuff like that. But what I remember him most for is A Clockwork Orange. And first and foremost, if you are a child, don't watch this movie. Please don't. If you are faint of heart, don't watch this movie. If you are a normal individual, don't watch this movie. This is a very peculiar type of movie. It is for a select group who will either view it as it is, as a movie, or those who will see it for its artistic value. If you look at it anything other than those two things, then you're either overthinking it or underthinking it, and you're going to walk away either angry or that was stupid. So very kind of less diverse than Doctor Strangelove. Very, very precise with this film. Fuck, it's long.
Yeah.
The thing is it really isn't that long, but fuck, it's long, alright? This is a movie based on a book, and for those of you who are familiar with A Clockwork Orange, the novel, there are 2 versions of it, and the one that Kubrick based his movie off of was the quote-unquote incomplete version, but the quote-unquote incomplete version was the one that he liked better, and the one that the author liked better, so he went with that. The other version of the book included an extra chapter and a couple things that were omitted in the first run, and some things were cut, but the main thing was that it continued from the end, where the movie kind of has an abrupt, very weird, you walk away thinking what could happen next thing. Right. The other version of the book, like I said, there's 2, has an actual an ending to it, and it kind of continues on from there, and you actually get to see what happens to the main character afterwards.
I see.
But all in all, this movie is, you know, I could try and explain it, but me knowing a lot about it, I'd explain all the little intricate details. What'd you get out of it?
I got basically this dude who's, he's kind of deranged and loves mischief, and basically he has this, you know, basically just has this sort of gang at first, and he just does anything he basically wants to. He'll bully, like, you know, homeless people, rape women, just destroy property. It's just, yeah, all around this menace to society. Until he basically gets a little overpowered and stuff, and just starts treating his own, you know, brothers, as they like to call them, as crap. So that, you know, they try to get some payback with him, and then basically they try to, you know, and he basically turns to like the root of all whatever evil, or just, and then he gets transformed, I guess, you know, because they lock him up, and yeah, you know, and it's you know, they throw some weird things in there, and it's kind of just, yeah, it's let's see,
it's fucked up, all right.
Yeah.
Just you know, you could go ahead and say it. This movie's fucked up. This movie is really fucked up, and it really isn't for everyone. Basically, it's kind of the trials and tribulations of a fucked up youth who becomes a he gets put into a prison, and then he quickly realizes that, prison sucks, and it's not going to do anything for him, and he doesn't really give a shit, so he hears about this program. He gets accepted into the program. The program says, you'll be in and out in a fortnight. What's a fortnight, do you know?
Like, what, 2 weeks or something?
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Fortnight's 2 weeks. So he's in and out in 2 weeks. But it conditions him that any kind of violence or violent act or anything like that, rape, murder, beatings, anything like that, he's conditioned to feel ill whenever that happens. So, seemingly, it cures him of his being a menace to society thing.
Mm-hmm. At a cost is basically having no moral, not moral.
No moral choices.
Yeah, no moral choices.
The other side effect, which more to his dismay than the other parts of it, was the fact that during one of the screenings of this ultra-violent stuff that was conditioning him to be less aggressive and to feel sick after this, was they were playing Ludwig van Beethoven, and it happened to be his favorite symphony of Ludwig van, who is his favorite I'll just say musician, whatever, cut the bullshit. But because they've played it numerous times during the movie before that, so you had learned that he really loved it, and that was the particular one that is like, oh hey, holy shit! Now he feels sick every time he hears it, and things kind of go south from there. But essentially, what it is it's society. It's a critique on society as far as the novel and the movie is concerned. About, hey, bad people we should make them feel bad when they do bad things, and it really ends up biting the main character in the ass because his brothers, as it were, become police officers and beat his ass, and someone else who he had wronged in the past finds out and tortures him so much that he tries to kill himself, but he doesn't. Long story short, man, this movie's fucked up.
Yeah, it's sort of a big old giant karma trip too, because the whole thing is just like, this guy he does all this wrong, and then it turns out that everything that goes wrong, and he gets paid back, and then it's like, oh man, it's like, it seems like a little over, but then like everything, yes. So it goes back and forth of being like, You
can't, first you're like, this guy's an asshole, then you're like, I kind of feel bad for him, more than he's an asshole, and I feel bad for him.
It goes back to asshole nice, and you just, and at the end you don't really know.
Yeah, the extra chapter, as it were, from the novel, actually picks up after the final scene, and you actually get to see what happens to him. He actually has a son, and there's similar traits in his son that he had, and he's starting to notice some things. And it really is, it's a really weird kind of ending for it, and I'm kind of glad it wasn't in there, but I kind of would have liked to have seen what Kubrick would have done with it, based on Kubrick being kind of the weird director that he is. The things that I would like to point out about this movie is 114, the number that was the no broadcast channel in Dr. Strangelove, makes its appearance again in this movie as the number for the serum that the main character is injected with to condition him to feel ill for the when he sees ultra-violent things or violent things in general. Another thing is there's a scene in the record store. You remember this one? I pointed it out.
Right.
There is an LP, an album, for people who don't know what an LP is. An album, those big things that your parents used to listen to music to. But there was a record of 2001: A Space Odyssey. And why was there a record of that? Well, that movie also was done by Stanley Kubrick, and it also had a heavily classical score in that movie. So, really, probably one of the more well-known movies by Kubrick, but a lot of the fact of that is most people didn't watch it, or the people who did were like, what the fuck, this is fucked up, and then they stopped watching it. It really is not everybody's cup of tea. What'd you get out of the movie? What'd you like about it? What didn't you like?
I like that basically the whole, his character and all, he was really like, you feel like he was just kind of like going with the flow with what society wanted him to be, but at the same time, he kept his, his basically, his personality or his menacing or whatever intact. Like he was still there, but he didn't want to lose grip of who he was. But as this more shit happened to him, it looks like that he was losing his his own self until after about around the third act and stuff, and you realize that it's like it basically just goes throughout this whole guy's personality and this what he believes is good and what he believes is bad, basically what he wants out of life, and just to just basically this chaos and rape and doing whatever he wanted. But
there was a lot of rape in this movie
and a lot of boobs.
There was a lot of rape and boobs in this movie.
Yeah.
What didn't you like?
I don't like some parts that sort of just maybe dragged out a little bit. I guess that's maybe why it felt like it was
long.
Right?
Yeah.
But right, it's just like sometimes I wish once it got to the scene, then you caught your interest again. But yeah, it was basically just like
there were some scenes that really did drag out, and I like this movie, but fuck, it's long. It really isn't time long. It's just mentally you have a lot to process, and some of the scenes just kind of drag out. Another thing that I don't particularly like is they don't really focus on the fourth gang member at all in the film at all. He's just kind of, you might as well have just had three dudes.
Right.
But
He
just kind of goes, "Hey, I'm Roy," and he's gone. Bye. I have to say that while it isn't one of my favorite Stanley Kubrick films, it's one that I think is kind of essential because this is where a lot of his past experience meets some of his future experience as far as directing goes. This is one of the most notable for Kubrick's long hallway type of shots, which you may know from The Shining and stuff like that. But this one had a lot of them, and even way late in the game, after they had done like 3 or 4 of them before, he pulled another one in the library of the prison, where the priest and the main character are walking down this this corridor of books, and it's like, fuck, this is a long ass corridor of books. I mean, this is supposed to be some sort of cramped prison, but fuck, there's a lot of fucking books here. Kind of just take the books down, put in more prisoners because everything's overcrowded and so on and so forth. But it really is a critique on society's view, and if you're not mentally prepared for that, then you probably won't like this movie, and you'll be like, this was boring, or there was just too much rape and titties and violence in it. It's a bad movie.
So basically, if you're okay with rape and titties and boobies and stuff, this violent crap, then just give it a watch, I guess. But if you want to avoid that, then avoid this movie.
It's really a movie to be taken with a grain of salt. So if you can't take it too seriously, but you can't take it too lightly. It's got to have that, again, kind of like, back to Dr. Strangelove, it really is that kind of middle ground, where Dr. Strangelove had that gritty realism of, this truly real thing that could have happened, and these, silly little quirky jokes. This one was more of the, ups, highs and lows of the emotions of, I'm bad and I'm doing bad things. I'm not doing bad, but bad things are happening to me. I'm doing bad things and bad things are it really is a roller coaster, and you kind of bounce between the two, and it kind of has this quirkiness to it, like most of Kubrick's stuff. I did like to mention one more thing. The actor, the main character, does narrate the entire story, which does take a little bit of the longness of it and shortens it a bit. And I really wish that Kubrick would have used that a little bit more to take out maybe another 20 minutes of this movie, because there are just some scenes that took a little bit too long. But if you're up for it, it's definitely worth a watch. If the violence or the rape scenes or the sheer amount of partial and frontal nudity, partial nudity for men and mostly nude for women,
right,
in this movie is a deterrent for you, then you might just want to skip it, because there is a lot of it, and this is not a movie for kids. Please don't watch it if you're a kid. Please just avoid it.